Okay, so welcome. We're going to get started with the most basic part of any kind of visual design, and that is line. So line is to visual art what letters and letters strung together, words strung together, sentences are to textual learning. So I just got a basic cup. The cup's just going to give me something to look at. But remember that when you're working with line, the moment that you make, so I'm looking at my cup, and by the way, there's the cup, but I'm going to move it a little off camera. Okay, so the moment you start, and I'm looking at just the circle on the top, and because I know I'm looking at it from approximately a 45-degree angle, what I see is not a circle, but I see an ellipse. Let me get that camera focused a little bit better. There we go. If you're looking at that circle from the top, you see a circle. The more your view moves towards the eye level, you can see that that circle becomes more elliptical, like a planet orbit. And by the time your eye is down, that you're looking at that cup straight on from the side, you just see a flat line. So I'm going to draw it from approximately the angle I'm looking at. So I'm looking down. I've got that circular shape. So that line, because it continues around and closes, the way we see, we want to understand, we want to make sense of something. So since that enclosed, we see that as a shape. So at this point you would just have a shape, that shape made with a single line, that line basically being where I put the pencil down and moved it around. If I'm working from observation, which I am, I'm going to look at whatever this object is and I'm going to say, okay, I see that, let me go down the side first. I see that that shape goes down, comes back around, and comes up to the other side. So my line just basically described that basic shape. If I wanted to get a little bit more specific, I see that there's a lip around that top edge, so I could just take my line, and I'm not stressing this. I just see that there's a lip around the top. And I can see that there's thickness, so I can just draw another line that is parallel inside of that original line that I have, and voila, I have what feels more like a vessel. This shape that you started with suddenly becomes the inside, and we've already begun illusion, and you're just using line. I haven't done anything with line. I haven't added any sense of light and shadow, and I've already begun to convey something. When you're looking at an object and you're just attempting to have a line describe the outer edges, that is called working with a contour. So we're working with a contour line. If I'm continuing to look at this particular shape, I can see that it has a handle, and all I'm doing is I'm just looking. I'm saying, okay, pretend that you don't know what this is. And shut off that part of your brain that keeps saying, oh my God, it doesn't look like it, it doesn't look like it, and just draw what you see. And what I see are lines that do something like that. Erasers are not, you've got your basic pencil set, whichever one you bought. I have a set here that has a lot of pencils in it, and we'll talk about what those pencils mean in a moment. But at this point I had just picked up, by the way, let's see what I have. I grabbed the absolute average pencil. I have a 2B. So, and I have a white eraser. These don't have much friction. And all the eraser does is it makes white marks. The pencil makes dark marks. So now I have this shape. It conveys a sense already of illusion because we want to understand, when we look, we try to make everything fit into our understanding of the world of perception. And the only other thing that I'm going to do in this first lesson and what you're practicing is contour line based on looking at something. And remember, I have that cup. It's off camera, but that's what I'm looking at. and you can vary the line itself. I'm working with a 2B. Pencils all have numbers and letters on them. And depending on what, so now I'm going to go over, I'm sorry, I'd somehow picked up a 7B there. I'm going to go over, and I had my 2B, which is a slightly light. 2 means it's a low number. The letter, if it's B, it means soft, and come up with a way that you can remember B equals soft. So 2B means it's fairly soft, makes a fairly dark line. An 8B, a 6B would make a really dark line. So I'll grab a 6B. There's a 6B pencil. And I'm going to vary my line weight. So I'm looking at the object and I say, okay, I see that there's shadow down here. I'm not adding a shadow. All I'm doing is going through. I might even go through it twice and make it a really wide and dark line. You can vary a line by thickness, by the light or darkness of it, the speed of it, whether it is continuous or whether it breaks up. So in this case, I just added a dark line, and I'll go and I'll do a couple more. So I'll say that area down there looks darker. This area down here looks darker. And underneath this lip, I see that it's distinctly darker. And I've got this dark pencil, so it's already making it easier for me to make some of those lines even darker. And I can look and say in here I see a really dark shadow on the back edge. So I'm not on the top line, I'm on the second, the inside line, and I made that one darker. And suddenly there's a little bit of variation. So I'm working with contour line, and I am varying the line quality. And that refers to lightness, darkness, speed, solid versus broken, anything you can do that varies a line. So contour line, line quality, looking at a simple object. That's the first topic that we're going to practice.